16 WAPT News Live at 5 starts now.
Happening right now, Hurricane Sandy is striking the East Coast with severe wind, pounding rain, and relentless storm surge.
So I flew in last night to avoid the storm this morning.
Sandy is also affecting Jackson's airport, plus keeping some troops from coming home. We have complete coverage of this superstorm and the search for a cold-blooded killer. Police hope this video will help them catch the man behind the murder at a party city.
This is a 16 WAPT News Hurricane Sandy update.
Sandy, a massive storm, and there is tremendous flooding in progress all along the New Jersey coast right now, up into Long Island, down to Virginia, and up through the New England coast. Look at Live Storm Shield 16 Doppler radar, massive storm from up here where the winds are 40 miles per hour, gusting to 60 from Boston through New York City, right down into southern New Jersey. And there's even some heavy snow and blizzard-like conditions in the high elevations of West Virginia. Look at this huge area of rain. Even wind and rain effects back to Chicago and Detroit into the Great Lakes region. Here's a close-up view at LaGuardia now, gusting to 65 miles per hour. This is inland at Teterboro. The steady winds out of the northeast at 25, gusting to 45. Philadelphia, steady winds at 30, and they've been gusting to 55, so it's nasty. Let me show you Storm Shield 16 3D, because the center of the storm is right off the coast of Cape May, New Jersey, and that's a band of 90-mile-an-hour winds right there, and that's what the top winds are. And the wind forcing the water on the Jersey coast. Very stormy up there. Some indirect effects for us. Cool air on the backside. We'll talk about a pretty good forecast coming up.
All right, David, thank you so much. Welcome to Live at 5. Right now, Hurricane Sandy is coming ashore tonight along the East Coast. I'm Stephanie Maxwell.
And I'm Darren Dito. We are watching all the live pictures of the storm hammering the East Coast. But first, I want to show you some video of a daring rescue operation from earlier today. There's the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard rescued 14 crew members of the tall ship HMS Bounty, which was about 90 miles off the North Carolina coast before the ship sank. But two people, they remain missing tonight. The HC says it received an emergency call from the ship's owner on Sunday after the 80-foot three-masted vessel lost power and started taking on water. Now, come back out to us live. We're going to show you what's happening in Atlantic City. We just had some pictures up from Rhode Island a second ago. You can tell it's obviously dark on the East Coast, but there is a tremendous amount of storm surge, the waves crashing on the shore here in Atlantic City. And also, there's a developing situation in New York. Check out what happened with a high-rise earlier today. Actually, we've got some... Actually, come back out to us real quick. There's some video of... There's actually some snow from Sandy that's happening up in North Carolina. I was hoping to show that to you in just a second, but unfortunately, we do not have that. All right, back out here to us live. You know, Hurricane Sandy has been causing a lot of problems at Jackson Evers International Airport. As 16 WAPT's Tammy Eswick reports, folks that are flying should keep an eye on where they're headed.
Hurricane Sandy is causing several major delays and backing airlines up.
From Jackson to Baltimore, canceled. From Baltimore to Jackson, canceled. And from Jackson to Washington, D.C.
Radar showing it's missing.
Canceled. Airline officials say Hurricane Sandy will bring more cancellations and airport delays.
Got here, they're supposed to leave at 12, and now they're saying 12:20 is when it's going to leave.
The Baltimore flight was supposed to bring almost 30 troops from the 172nd Security Forces based out of Flowood, Mississippi, home. Instead, that flight is grounded. We found some people who fled the East Coast ahead of Hurricane Sandy.
Flew in last night to avoid the storm this morning.
Al Sullivan is like most people, keeping a close eye on the storm.
Could have some wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour.
Just watching the news and watching the Weather Channel and local forecasts of people tracking Sandy.
Other travelers are rearranging their trip to get to the East Coast. For this couple, that means adding a rental car to their travel plans.
We were flying into Philly yesterday, and they called. Our flights got canceled for Philly, so now we're back today. We're going to go to Pittsburgh and drive down.
Jackson Airport officials are advising travelers to check and then recheck their itinerary. They say just because it's a sunny day in Jackson doesn't mean you won't have any problems at other airports.
So if you're looking to find out whether your airline has canceled your flight or not, the easiest way to do it is just go to their website. In Jackson, Tammy Eswick, 16 WAPT News.
And of course, we will continue to follow Hurricane Sandy for you from the newsroom. But right now, let's go to the studio where Stephanie is standing by with just a heart-wrenching crime out of Ridgeland.
Yeah, Darren, Ridgeland police hope surveillance video can help track down a cold-blooded killer. 16 WAPT Scott Simmons has been on that case today and poring over that surveillance video. It's very upsetting, Scott.
Yeah, it certainly is. We got to warn you, this is disturbing video, but video police want you to see a 68-year-old store manager gunned down at the back door of the Party City store in Ridgeland, and all over about $2,000. It happened Friday night about 10:45. Bobby Adams right there unlocking the back door to let an employee leave. And then there's the gunman. He has a large caliber weapon in his hand. Now, Adams tries to grab that weapon and then slam the door, but it doesn't lock. The gunman, a black male with shoulder-length dreadlocks, shoots him. And as Adams was lying on the floor, bleeding to death, the gunman steps on and then over Adams' body. He tosses 2 backpacks inside to the store employees and tells them to fill it up with money. The suspect is seen speeding away in a white Chevy or silver Chevy SUV, a Trailblazer-like vehicle. And the police chief says he needs help on this case.
We need the public's help. We need your help immediately to take this person off the streets. This guy is a cold-blooded murderer that we want to put in jail as soon as we can possibly do it.
He loved working in an environment where people could come in and visit with him and
putting the kids with the costumes.
I talked with the family there. They say he had been married more than 40 years. He was actually planning to retire soon and move to Kentucky to be closer to his daughter and grandson. Now that family planning a funeral. Investigators are hoping someone picks up the phone and gives up this gunman. All they have to do is actually call Crime Stoppers, and believe it or not, they can make off with as much money as the robber did. You can get about $2,000 simply by calling Crime Stoppers and turning him in.
Well, Scott, do police think this could have been an inside job?
Yeah, it certainly looks fishy. A gunman just waiting outside a back door of a Party City for the manager to unlock the door. Right now, the police are asking anyone who has facts to simply help them and call Crime Stoppers. Remember the phone number, 601-355-TIPS.
Hopefully someone will do the right thing. All right, Scott, thank you so much. Investigators in Flowood are working to determine what caused an apartment fire last night. Yeah, this is video just moments after a family's dog was rescued from that burning building. The fire broke out at Laurel Park Apartments. Several families now need a new place to live, but everyone made it out safely. That little dog, Harley, got cheers when Flowood firefighters rescued him from an apartment. Another cat was found okay, but there are some other pets that are still missing tonight. Now back to Hurricane Sandy. That massive storm could end up impacting 50 million people. In Washington, the federal government is shut down. 16 WAPT Sally Kidd is live in the nation's capital with a look at the federal response. Sally.
Stephanie, we've been having bursts of wind and rain throughout the afternoon, picking up a little bit just within the last few minutes. Still some traffic out on the roads here, but for the most part, people are headed inside as conditions are expected to really deteriorate throughout the rest of the evening. Now, earlier today, President Obama received a briefing on this storm. President Obama scrapped his campaign plans and flew back to Washington to oversee the response to Superstorm Sandy.
This is going to be a big and powerful storm.
The president is urging residents to heed the warnings of state and local officials.
When they tell you to evacuate, you need to evacuate. Do not delay. Don't pause. Don't question the instructions that are being given, because this is a serious storm.
Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano says the federal government is using all resources at its command. She says FEMA has positioned supplies and response teams up and down the coast.
That means moving teams in from other parts of the country so that they can immediately get in to help with recovery and response. It means that the Coast Guard is focused on search and rescue.
The advancing storm battered shore towns in New Jersey. In New York, lower-lying sections of Manhattan and Long Island are already flooding. The subway system is shut down, and so is the stock exchange. In the nation's capital, all non-essential federal workers were told to stay home. On the National Mall, Olympian Julie Cully was racing to get in one more run before the worst arrives.
So far here, it's not that bad yet, but we've also just had a tailwind our entire way out, so heading home might be a little bit rough.
Now, here at the corner of 13th and Massachusetts Avenue in D.C., the traffic lights are still working. The power is still on for now, but the D.C. Metro rail system has been shut down all day. Buses aren't running. Flights have been canceled. And, of course, schools have been closed. Reporting live in Washington, Sally Kidd, 16 WAPT News. Stephanie.
Well, Sally, does FEMA have enough money in its disaster assistance fund to address all of the impacts of Sandy, that is?
Yes, that question was put to FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate today, and he said that, yes, there is enough money in the disaster fund to address this. But then, of course, down the road, that fund needs to be replenished. And then there are the longer term impacts of the storm and the rebuilding efforts. And so he says they likely will need to go back to Congress for more money. And that, of course, sets the stage for another political battle, perhaps, over federal disaster assistance funding. Back to you.
Okay, Sally Kidd, live in Washington. Thank you so much. Now, right after 16 WAPT News at 10, a 1-hour edition of Nightline with special reports on Hurricane Sandy. ABC is covering the major areas hit starting at 10:35. Well, tonight, more than 300 Entergy workers are on the East Coast ready to help neighbors who lose power. More than 40 extra workers traveled from Mississippi. Massive power outages, as you heard, are expected from Sandy. Up to 10 million people could be left in the dark. The crews, which left Saturday morning from Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi, will help replace power poles and restore the power once the storm passes. Those workers are prepared to be in the area as long as they're needed. The Jackson Salvation Army is on standby and ready to lend a hand to the East Coast as well. 4 crews stocked up 2 mobile feeding units this morning, which can serve food to more than 10,000 people daily. Captain Ken Chapman says these types of natural disasters put a strain on resources.
Especially at this time of year with Christmas coming up and the angel tree and the kettle drive, it will be a big strain. But this is what we do, and we're standing by ready to serve at any time people call.
Local crews could learn later today if they'll be needed, and if so, they could be deployed for 2 weeks. David is here now. Sandy is indirectly affecting us, you mentioned.
And it is, and it's in a good way. That's the good news. Let me just show you a massive storm affecting the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast region all the way into the Great Lakes. Chicago and Lake Michigan and Lake Erie and Lake Ontario are seeing huge waves building on the south side of the storm. But northerly flow of air and cold winds on the back side of it. Cool breeze all day. Look at the temperatures. They quickly fall down into the 40s about 10:30 tonight. And then in the early morning hours, we're looking at middle 30s across much of the area. If the winds can die off, we will see frost around the area. There was some frost over in Forest this morning. And, you know, Stephanie, the storm is so big and it's not moving, and it's kind of been moving to the northwest today. It has blocked all weather patterns from moving from the west to the east. That means the sunny, clear weather will stay around a while.
Okay, more from David in a few minutes. A cruise ship took a beating from Hurricane Sandy. See that incredible video. Plus, a freight train carrying chemicals crashed. The dangerous mess left behind. You're watching 16 WAPT Live at 5.
The Associated Press Best Newscast in Mississippi, and an Emmy Award for Best Newscast in the Southeast region. This is 16 WAPT News, the one to watch.